I had this bad bitch.
I had this bad chick uptown, she was had stuff in the head, I mean. Bought the chick diamonds and pearls, I mean. Should've seen the ice shining on the wrist. I don't see my numbers like, on y'all dudes like, lost the blue strip, 2 like, money, I'm like, had to hit the brake on y'all brothers like, brothers getting bagged on my block like, coming home within a half an hour like, felt like they had the manpower like, more or less, more so I rip the torso, I live the fast life, come through in the poor snow like, whoa, my people like dough, like nitro, my flow, nice clothes, like whoa. He's playing with like whoa. Now I'm Doc Strange in the range like whoa. 100 miles an hour switching lanes like whoa. Plus I'm getting from the chick like whoa. Fingernail rubber edge like whoa. Team floss, 10 chicks like whoa. 9 Jack Biz coupe like whoa. We keep some cheese lines on your block like whoa.
Window. We need the cuss words. We need the cuss words.
Brothers put me through this, sonny. Like, whoa. I'm a toe blow for flow, like, whoa. And rip the torso, I live the fast life. Come through in the poor snow, like, whoa. My people, like, nitro, my flow, nice clothes, like, whoa.
Hey, oh.
Gentlemen.
What up?
What's going on? R.I.P. Black Rob. You know, we lost another legend at DMX last week, Black Rob this week. But, you know, we're here to talk some NBA basketball, maybe a little bit of the college NBA draft, you know, some declarations. We got our man Chet Holmgren and all that stuff out there. So, you know, we're going to have some fun. My man Anthony Amidio. KG.
What's up, boys?
What's going on, fellas? Paulie Scoops, a.k.a. Paulie the Dodger, a.k.a. Paulie better pay his money, a.k.a. I don't know what he's doing. I know he had a hell of a 420, though. You know, I mean, but, you know, that's what happens when you're young and you got youth. You can do that. So that's good for him. But listen, welcome everybody to Baseline Jumpers. You know, bring your questions and all that other fun stuff, comments, and whatever you got to us today, talking NBA. How you guys doing? Everybody good?
Good, man.
Doing well, brothers. How are you?
Oh, it's wonderful.
I'm freshly shaved for you guys too, man.
I was checking out the beard game. Now Ant holds the beard title, and I can't grow that stuff. I ain't going to.
Yeah, I still got the beard. I'm gonna leave it to the Messiah over there.
Okay, show that shirt off.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Got the legends.
The GOAT.
Yeah.
Who's that? Jordan, Kobe, and Iverson? I can't tell.
Nah, Bron. I wish I could find one with Iverson.
Yeah, I got a little something for you too. I got my Minute monkey pose.
Okay. Hey.
But it's cold out though. So listen, crazy time of year. You know, you got this April. Well, we got done the March Madness, but now we got Steph Curry going insane.
Bonkers.
Steph, I mean, he's against the Washington Wizards tonight, and his over under in betting circles, I believe, is 35.5. And I think his 3-point props are 6.5, which is the highest they've been. So I mean,
take them both.
What is Steph doing? And I mean, can he be stopped?
Apparently not. I mean, he's just unconscious right now. Everything's going in. I mean, his dribbling, he's taking guys off the ball. I mean, it's just like everything he's doing is he's just carrying that team because they have absolutely nobody. They're hurting right now, and they're hanging in there because of him. It's pretty impressive to watch. It's probably the most impressive thing shooting wise in my lifetime I've ever seen. I mean, and I've seen a lot. You know, we've all seen guys shoot, but this guy, I mean, it's amazing.
I kind of think he's making history, and he might go down. This might make him the greatest of all time shooting wise.
Listen, we're going to talk about Joker in a little bit, Henry. I mean, my man Henry, every week he comes solid with the
Nuggets.
Joker's been playing bonkers, but that's not the lead story right now. But we're going to get to the MVP race because we got to settle this stuff. I appreciate Henry. I appreciate you watching.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate Henry does some work in Outside the Box, our Facebook group. So props to Henry and props to his
Yeah.
support of the Joker. So we're going to be talking about him in a little bit. I just want to show you some love real quick, Henry. Thank you. But Kev, what were your thoughts on Curry and this?
He's right now. To be honest with you, he's really making a charge at this MVP, man. I know his team's list, terrible and all that, but what he's doing is historic, man. This is crazy. I think this is the best he's played. I think he's getting better. I think this is the best I've seen Steph Curry.
It might well be. I mean, he does have his team. I mean, in the last 10, they're 6-4. They're in a 9 spot. So in this weird, wacky playoff setup, the soccer loving setup that Adam Silver has on, they're in the playoff hunt. Is he going to be able to take it and carry it over to the Warriors tonight, which is going to be very interesting? And what do you think about them versus Warriors tonight?
I mean, you mean the Wizards? The Warriors playing Wizards.
Yeah.
Right?
All right, the Wizards. The Warriors versus Wizards. I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't see the Wizards stopping him. I mean, I see a high-scoring game. I mean, there's not much defense being played between. I mean, the Wizards aren't. He's over 30 tonight. I mean, it's just such a hard prop to bet because it just keeps going and going. I mean, I'd feel more comfortable taking the over 6 3-pointers opposed to, but you got to take both if you.
What's it, 30? You said 35? You said 35 and 6.5?
Yeah, I mean,
last time I checked.
To get them at any kind of value, you got to take them 35, 40 points to get any kind of value. I mean,
yeah. So here's the thing. So if you're on a program like FanDuel or something like that, you might want to be maybe hit the over 40 or something like that to try to get the adjusted odds to try to make it worthwhile. The thing that's weird here, guys. One of the hottest teams in the NBA is the Washington Wizards.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry. They're the hottest team in the NBA. They've won 5 straight. They're one game. Actually, they're tied with Kevin's Chicago Bulls for the 10th seed. Now, is Chicago Bulls and Washington Wizards, are they battling for a 10th seed? And my question is even better is what the hell is the Washington Wizards doing winning these games? Tank.
Same thing the Bulls are doing. Tanking.
Yeah, I'm trying to look at that game tonight. I mean, you got the Wizards.
I believe the Wizards are favored.
They should be. They should be favored.
They're hot. Besides the Knicks, they might be the hottest in the East.
I'm sorry. The Wizards are getting 2 points at home. I mean, this sounds like a trap game. The over under is 241. I mean, that's insane.
That is insane.
I think you have to take the Wizards and the under in this game, and just, I mean, I hate it. I'm not betting it, but I mean, everything screams Wizards and the under. So, I mean, what Steph's doing is phenomenal. Like it says down there, 11 straight 30-point games, 10 plus 3. I mean, let's put this in perspective, guys, right? Because everybody says Steph Curry is the best shooter ever, right? I mean, do you guys agree with that, or what?
He's getting up there. He's getting. I mean, this is unbelievable, man. I mean, like we said, we're all from the same era, so we've seen a lot of good shooters. But this guy is. You got to give him his credit, man. He might be. He just might be.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think you have to give him the crown. I mean, he's been doing it for so many years consistently, and he's getting better. I mean, his game's so smooth right now. I mean, just watching him, it's so fun watching him. He's just like it's like art on the court.
Everybody knows what he's going to do, and he's still destroying you.
Yeah,
he's just farther and farther out.
If you look at it, he has some guys out there that are just human picks. They're just out there to set picks for Steph Curry.
Yeah,
they really don't even roll. It's like they're running double high screens, they're running high screens, and everything like that. But here's the thing, and it's hard to compare error because if there's one basketball at the end, if you look at the game-winning metrics especially in the playoffs, Steph Curry is really doesn't cut the mustard at all. So, but if you look at one game, I don't know if I take Steph Curry to take that last shot, to take that game-winning shot. I still have a guy like obviously Larry Bird. I mean, if there's one last shot, Larry's getting the ball, and that's it. Especially if it's a 3-pointer. Ray Allen's up there, Reggie Miller. I mean, you've seen what Reggie Miller. Now, we're from that era, but here's the thing too. Steph is doing, like we put up there, like how many 3-pointer Steph has made and blah blah blah. It was very unusual for a guy like Larry Bird to take more than 3 points, three-point shots in a game. Or Reggie Miller. So I think that I don't have a problem with people saying that Steph is the greatest shooter ever, but the thing that raises eyebrows a little bit is it's a completely different game. You know, Reggie Miller used to have to get mugged, run through the lane, get mugged, get multiple picks thrown to him with a guy grabbing his jersey, normally that punk ass John Starks or somebody, and then try to get up the three. This guy, you know, it's one pick and then you're wide open. You know, I mean, George Hill made the return to the NBA this season for the Sixers, and Steph just did a little shook up. Nothing. It wasn't even that great of a move. A little push off. George Hill's can't touch him and stuff like that, and he's flying off him, and Steph drills it. I mean, it's, you know, a very impressive shot, good look. But when you compare, this is a very hard thing to compare in errors wise. I mean, you guys have any insight about it? What do you think?
Well, what really differs in his game compared to those guys from like the 90s, the guys we just talked about, is his ball handling skills, his passing. I mean, these, like you said, Tony, these guys were, back in the day, plays were set up for them to come off screens, and they were just like spot up shooters, like not real pure jump shooters, just spot up shooters. Yeah. And then he comes along, and it like evolved into this ball handling, this shooting from half court, the range, bringing the range. So I mean, it differs from that. That's what I see, is that he's got more tools than some of those other guys back in the day.
He's got range for days, dude. He comes on the court ready to shoot, man.
Definitely a different time. Like, there's no doubt. The time. The play was. I mean, the games were in the 80s and 90s when we watched basketball. You know what I mean?
Well, you're also allowed to play defense and perimeter on the perimeter too, and that's not something that happens today. I mean, when you got guys back in the day, like we mentioned, Chris Jackson or Mamadou Raouf last week, we talked about him. Michael Adams used to play with this Wizards team. You know, he'd run up and down the court with like a Doug Mose offense, or you know, there were a few guys. But I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody pulled up like Steph does back then,
he would have got on the bench. He wouldn't have played.
Yeah.
Very on the bench. And a lot of times, and you're correct, Dan, because there was about Steph's overall skill set. Now, one of the great shooters was Craig Hodges, you know, of the Bulls fame, you know, but he was more of a situational player. Steve Kerr, more of a situational player. One of my favorite stories about Larry Bird is when Craig Hodges was chirping at him. You guys remember that story?
Yeah, it's a good story.
You know, so Craig Hodges is chirping at him and Larry Bird, you know, and going back and forth, and Craig Hodges is like, you know where to find me. And Bird just clicks back, at the end of the Bulls bench. You know, and Craig Hodges was considered one of the greatest three-point shooters of that era. And it just goes to show that he was, you know, people were like very limited in that. So, I mean, when you talk about the total package, Steph might be the man. But for the last shot, I could name 2 or 3 guys that I'd want to taken it over him.
No, and I agree with you on that. I agree. Like Larry Bird, definitely. I mean, I always loved Reggie Miller. I mean,
are you talking just 3-pointers when you're saying this last shot? Or are you talking about just shot?
3-pointers.
Okay, I was gonna say there's only one guy and he's right in the middle. So you're holding his sons. I mean, if we're talking about shots, like, I mean, but yeah, I mean, like you said, the different generations, different game, but we can't take that away from Steph because this is when he's playing. So I just think you got to put him up. I'm not saying he might be in the top 3. Like, I agree with you. I'm taking Ray Allen. I think Ray Allen, last shot, I'm gonna give it to Ray. That's one of the most smoothest 3-pointer jump shots I've ever seen. But Bird's up there, you know, and I think Steph's in the top 3.
See, this is why I give the edge to Bird over to Ray Allen, because Ray Allen, as far as spot up and everything like that, he'll drain it. But as far as like just that killer instinct, Larry Bird has it. Larry Bird is going to take the ball. He's going to tell you where he's going to shoot it, and he's going to drain it. And I don't think that Ray Allen has that killer in him. You know,
I've seen him hit some daggers, some big dagger threes.
But he hit daggers more. He hit daggers more that were set up by other people, and not, you know, you didn't get Ray to come out there and just pull up on somebody. That didn't happen too often. You know, in the big shots that Ray hit.
I mean,
because Ray was a sneaky athlete too. His younger years, his Bucks years, his Seattle years. He was a sneaky athlete.
Yeah, he had ups.
That's Jesus Shuttlesworth, man. Come on.
Absolutely. You know, we see how that is. So let's get to the other big battle. My man Henry mentioned it real early. MVP battle.
I called it. I'm telling you, Joker's still in the lead.
But he's playing phenomenal. I mean, we can't disagree on that. Absolutely. But for how long is he going to
we'll see.
How long is he going to keep this up? I mean, he is.
I talked to you about this last week. I watched Embiid. I think it was the last 2-3 nights, and he's coming. He's on his tail, man. But so Steph. But I think it's a 1-2 race now, 100%. So we'll see.
And what do you think?
Listen, I had the Nuggets in the beginning of the year, going to the NBA Finals, playing the Finals. I'm a fan of the Nuggets. They're a team I root for on the other side. Love the Joker. I mean, Embiid is the MVP in my mind. I mean, you're not going to change it. You're not going to change this. He's got his team in first place. He's putting up stats. I mean, I'm just amazed how I'm looking at Vegas. They got Joker so far ahead of Embiid that it's like almost locked up already. They're saying, and I refuse to believe that because
do you think it's because
the Sixers finished first? Embiid's got to win this MVP.
Do you think it's because he's been there all year? I don't know enough about props betting and all that stuff.
It's honestly, in my opinion, it's because they're basing it on how many games they are playing, and Embiid misses too many games.
Well, look at the records, all right? 37-20 versus 39-18. And we know Embiid has missed it. So the Denver Nuggets are, 5. They're 8-2 in their last 10. They won 3 in a row. Sixers are 7-3, lost 1. I mean, it was one with Tobias and Ben Simmons out. Jamal Murray is now out for Denver, and we're going to really see how Joker picks up. But and I think, the fact that Joker is playing every game and he's out there health and he's not taking games off, he's not doing load management. You have to give him some credit for that. And I want to and I'm going to give my man Henry some props because I saw this as well, but he did post it on the OTB. Look at this.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's amazing.
Wow.
When you're talking about MVP and this. Jokic, first in points, first in rebounds, first in assists, first in steals, first in field goal percentage, and first in minutes. Okay, he's on a team that's competitive in the West. They're streaking, and he's absolutely just dominating. So if anybody wants to say that, he's undeserving, I don't think that's a good argument.
Well, you don't know basketball if that's the case. Whoever says that, just say, all right, you don't know basketball. I'm not even going to discuss this with you anymore.
But here's the thing. The door is open for Embiid, but he has to show more than what he showed against the Warriors. I mean, because Embiid is going to put up some numbers. I mean, just because, especially if Ben and Tobias and some guys are out, he's going to put up numbers. But he has to show, and I think I said this a couple weeks ago, it's time for when Embiid came back at a huge game, it's time for Embiid to come back, dominate every game. Joker is dominating every game. Embiid has to come and dominate every game. He didn't dominate against a Warriors team that has nobody in the middle except Mr. Triple Single.
I don't think it's open and shut case like everybody thinks. I think Embiid's right there. I think it's going to come down to these last 15 games and see, if Embiid, like you said, if Embiid can. Well, I think it's going to be kind of easier to hold off Brooklyn now. So I mean, I don't think the number one slot's going to be as important. I think it's going to be stat wise, and we'll see because I don't think anybody on Brooklyn's going to be playing for the next week or so. So you guys should lock that up. But
well, I said it when there was 20 games left. So now it's at 15 games left. So if Embiid has to come and he has to play every game. I mean, he has to play every game. He has to dominate every game. And the thing that still worries me, and my man Bubba Toombs mentioned it in one of the Sixers pages, is Embiid is still horrible at passing it at a double team. Horrible. So what's happening is guys like, if you see how the Warriors contained them in the fourth quarter, is he came and was doubled every time he touched the ball. Backside doubles, over top doubles, front side. I mean, they're doubling him from different angles, and he doesn't know how to make the pass, and he just can't make the pass. Turnovers, just poor. It's just been poor. So if you double team Joker, that's a layup, that's a dunk. I mean, so that's something that Embiid has to really, really improve on. So if he wants to close this MVP race, I mean, he has to improve in all facets and dominate, and the Sixers have to win.
Listen, I believe Embiid is the MVP, but this is over. Joker is going to win the MVP. It's not. I mean, from what I'm reading, like 90% of the voters are voting for
Oh,
Joker.
really?
So I mean, this thing's over. But I'm just more on the side of Embiid. I mean, that's just my opinion. But I mean, this is over. I mean, it's a lock. He's going to win it. I mean, he's minus 400 in Vegas.
Yeah, it's tough.
So
Kev, you mentioned about
and he deserves it. I'm not taking away from him. He generally deserves it.
if
Yeah,
he
he
gets,
balled
I
out.
have no
Balled.
argument, but Embiid definitely had an opportunity to win it if he wanted it. Play every night, play hard. So, and Kev, you mentioned the point about the Sixers and the Nets. Now, with Harden and KD out, you're saying that the players aren't going to play. But here's the thing: Kyrie has been balling, as you mentioned. Kyrie has been balling.
Yes, he has.
And even though they haven't been playing everybody, and it's a contentious situation, they're only a half game behind the Sixers. Okay. And they're 6-4 in their last 10. So it hasn't imploded, but there's certain teams that are trying to make some fights and everything like that. But, so they're still right there with the Sixers. And, depending on who plays for the Sixers and when they play and all that other stuff, it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Can we talk about Ben Simmons not playing the other night? Like,
if you talk to him not playing, you have to think about Tobias.
Does it concern you at all?
Why didn't he play?
Tobias has got literally a bum knee. Ben said he's sick.
So does Ben.
Nah,
he's got a bum knee. He does. His knee. Listen, the criticism that everybody has about Ben right now, though, it all started when he hurt his knee. So I think you're going to see a little bit more load management in the future. The Sixers are on right now. They're up by 1.
Playoff time, does anything concern you? I mean, you talking about Joel passing out of double teams, obviously Ben not shooting. I mean, does this concern you in the future in the playoffs? Because teams are going to set up in the half court. It's different. You know what I mean? That's what concerns me is that, you're right on passing out of double teams. He's horrible at it. So, I mean, people are going to see what the Warriors did, and no, we're shorthanded. We don't have a plethora of shooters.
Is it going to? I think it's going to come down to, can you stop them 4 out of 7 times? Like, that might work a game or two, but I think there's nobody really in the East that can really, if he's playing serious and Embiid, there's nobody in the East that's going to mess with him. So I think you guys are good until you get to the conference final.
Well, if you listen, if we're talking about, and we haven't even gotten to the Sixers versus Sun matchup that's live right now, it's a close game. But you have Tobias Harris not playing, you have Ben Simmons not playing, you have Seth Curry not playing. That's 3 starters that are out. So if all these guys are not playing, I mean, you're going out there. Their starting lineup tonight was Embiid, Korkmaz, Danny Green, Matisse Thybulle, and Shake Milton. That's their starting lineup, and you're a half a game above. So I can't see, and you implied a little bit that Ben was just sitting out. No, Ben's really kind of injured. His knee's a little banged up. Tobias is really banged up. So they're trying to give them a little bit of rest before they get into this last 10-game streak, where it seems like I'm assuming that the last 10 games is when these guys are really going to try to put it on. And when I say these guys, I'm talking about Brooklyn and I'm talking about Philly, because both of them are sitting out. Harden re-injured, but he was fine last night walking around. So I mean, it's definitely interesting to see. And
setback is what it was.
Meanwhile, the Suns are starting everybody.
Well, I mean, they're a young team going for it. They're playing every night, balls out. That team. So
they want that.
You expect that. You got to expect that.
Chris Paul. He's young. I mean, hey, he's not young, but he does have a young core, and he's leading them guys just like last year. And if you're looking at the standings, I mean, they're fighting. They're fighting right there with this. I expect them to overtake Utah. They're 8-2. I'm not impressed with Utah. I'm not impressed with Rudy Gobert.
Agree.
I mean, my man Joe Ingles is jingling baby, and I love his game. But as far as the other guys, I mean, you have the Clippers that are 9-1 in their last 10. Suns are 8-2. I mean, these guys, and Denver, we talked about, is 8-2 again. So I mean, you have some streaking teams here, and in this matchup against the Suns and Sixers, this is a game really that the Suns should dominate. right? I mean, looking at everything, they should dominate.
Yeah.
So,
And you're right there, tied at 23. So we'll see.
yeah, I mean, it's a game of
Early.
runs and everything like that.
Well,
So let's.
I like that we got George Hill back. Coming back maybe to give us some help.
He looked awful.
To help. Yeah, he looked old. Hopefully, he'll get into the swing of things. I don't know.
And so then we got Then we have Anthony Davis coming back tomorrow?
Yep, he's gonna play Dallas. I think he said he's on a 15-minute what's it called?
Restriction.
Time restriction.
Yep.
15 minutes. And you went dark there, bud.
Yep. Let there be light.
He can't afford his electric bill. We're gonna set a GoFundMe for Immediate to pay his electric bill.
Yeah, set that GoFundMe up. That's sweet.
Yeah, he's on.
So Anthony Davis is going to come back, which is going to be interesting to see what kind of what kind of game that they have. But
and then LeBron's on. He just got cleared for light work on there, so he'll be back. He'll be back soon.
So then it's going to look like they're going to come back and make a run. Trying to catch Denver and the other guys. It's there. I don't think there's any way that they catch these guys. To be honest with you, that are like the Clippers and the Suns. It's going to be very, very difficult. They're 6 games behind them, 6.5 on the Suns. So I mean, these teams.
Are they 5? I'm sorry, John. I didn't mean to cut you off. Are they 5?
The Lakers are 5 seed right now. So when the Lakers are so it's that's a 4 or 5 matchup right there, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So Lakers Nuggets first round. That's an interesting first round. I mean,
yes, it is.
So you're see some teams jockeying for position, and it's going to be interesting. I mean, the West has Golden State and San Antonio the 9-10 tied, and you have Memphis and Dallas the 7 seed. So and we're not. And listen, Zion and the Pelicans. I mean, they lose again the other night to a Nets team without everybody but Kyrie, pretty much. So it's. It's going to be interesting. But now, when we're looking in the East, I mean, there's some teams in the East that are streaking. Hawks 8-2, Knicks 8-2 in their last 10, Celtics 8-2 in their last 10, and the Washington Wizards we mentioned earlier 7-3 in their last 10. So, what are these teams doing? Are they jostling for position? Or are any of these teams a real threat in the East?
The Hawks and Knicks play tonight, so I'm interested to see what happens. The Knicks are just they're a tough team right now. They play defense.
They play good defense. They play defense.
I mean, Randall's really stepped up his game. Barrett's playing well.
Reggie Bullock.
Yeah, you kind of don't want to see the Knicks right now, man.
That's do you have to go wash your mouth out with soap after you say that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. I mean, but you really have to be a little careful with the Knicks right now. And that game tonight, I'm going to be keeping my eye on it. I got a couple of props on that.
I think tonight you have the over 218, right?
Yeah. Yes.
I love the over 218 on that one, and there's some props and stuff like that. Cleveland's up on the Bulls pretty big, Kev, by 20 in the first quarter, 32-12. That's good for the Cade Cunningham sweepstakes.
Good for them. Good for them. I don't even watch school. I'm gonna be honest. I just check in from time to time. I'm all on the tank, and I hate saying that. I don't want to be the tank guy, but it's time to tank.
Hey, listen, when your team's tanking and trust us.
Oh, I know. I know you guys know.
Yeah, but right now we're number 1 in the standing, so the tank worked. So I think it's a great strategy. And you're a college basketball fan. You like to see the young players. And that's one of the things that you need to do when a team's tanking. You need to start watching some of the young teams develop. I mean,
yes, sir.
And some of them guys do develop. Just Brett Brown couldn't develop them for the Sixers. Jeremy Grant, Rocco, Christian Wood. The NBA is littered with some quality players that played for the Sixers that in the tanking area. So if your team's tanking, just still watch, keep your head up, enjoy the young players. And at least you don't have to watch Wendell Carter Jr.
Yeah. Oh, God. Thank God. Thank you, God.
Yeah. So, any of these teams that have been streaking lately? I mean, are any of them a viable threat? I mean, the Celtics have been a pretty disappointing team, but now, they did lose the other night, but they're 8-2 in the last 10. I mean,
are you viable threat meaning like they're gonna they can win the East? Is that what we're talking about, or are we talking about maybe upsetting
Well,
the
right,
first round?
well, right now it would be a Celtics Bucks matchup. I mean,
That's
would
the
the
one.
Celtics,
That's the one I was looking at. That's the one that's interesting because we know how Giannis is. We know how Milwaukee is when they get in the playoffs. They're not the best, so that might be one. That's a dangerous one.
but they do have Drew Holiday this year. Let's not discount him.
I do like Drew, yes, but I mean, that would be one I keep my eye on if that does happen. Other than that, I mean, right now the 4-5 would be a Knicks Atlanta matchup, and I don't. Neither of those teams scare me against the Sixers or Brooklyn. So that's the one I probably would say. The Celtics. Watch the Celtics.
Listen,
And
I think
Embiid's rebounds. I mean, that prop. I mean, he had 7 rebounds in the first quarter. I mean, how does that not hit? Right? That his over 12.5. I mean, that has to hit. He has 7 in the first quarter.
Yeah,
Better hit.
He better hit.
So,
but I think it depends on the situation. Like coming into the playoffs, these guys are streaking, but then how are the Sixers and the Nets playing? Are they playing well? And these teams come in hot. But
I mean, you really.
I think it all depends on how these teams are playing in the end. But then again, it's a series, so
yeah, it's not what like if it was like college, you think about it. But 4 out of 7, I can't see the Knicks beating Brooklyn or you guys or Atlanta. I definitely can't see Atlanta doing anything. I saw them against Milwaukee the other night. They were horrendous. So
So that's what brings me to this. I mean, I don't see. Well, right now the Hawks and Knicks would play each other, but if they weren't playing each other, I mean, and they were matched up against one of the top 3 teams, I mean, I don't see them winning a playoff game. Hawks and Knicks going to get swept first round, but now they're playing each other, so now one of them will have to be in the second round if that does hold up. The team that we haven't mentioned, and it's one of them things that we're all year. It's kind of like they're kind of overlooked, and there's reason. The Miami Heat. Are the Miami Heat falling apart? There's a lot of rumors going on right now. Jimmy Butler seems like he's worn out his welcome. He's kind of, hating that he misses his teammates in Philly, and these guys aren't playing hard enough now. Kev, I know you're a big fan of Tyler Hero's girlfriend. Why don't you start?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Miami's so up and down, and they're so inconsistent. They don't worry me. I don't know what's going on with Butler. Butler's a cuckoo bird. I don't know what he's off his rocker. So good ball player, plays hard, but I think he thinks he's a little bit better than what he is. So I think he needs to bring it back a little bit and just continue to play hard. Do what you did best to get you here. I know you're getting paid like you're a superstar and you're the guy this diva, but stop it. That's not what you built your game on. And
this just goes to show you why I feel it's very important for the Sixers to get the number 1 seed is because that right now the Miami Heat, and say what they want, their turmoil, they're really bashing Hero down there in Miami because they think he's just an IG star now, or TikTok or whatever. Guys aren't really getting it done. I mean, they're doing. You're right. They're 2 games above 500. They're right now. They're in the 7th seed. So you're the 2 seed in the East. You start out with Miami Heat in the first round of playoffs. Then you have to go and face Giannis and the Bucks in the second round of playoffs. And then, if it holds up, then you're playing the 1 seed if that's either the Sixers or the Nets. So that shows you how tough potential road in the East can be. Defending champions, Giannis and the Bucks, and then the 1 seed. I mean, that is not a very good recipe for success at all for the playoffs.
They're just too inconsistent, man. They're just too inconsistent. I've watched them a lot this year. Like, they're up and down, so they don't worry me.
Now they're inconsistent. I mean, is that their 3-point shooting? I mean, it seems like they have a similar roster. I mean, even Kendrick Nunn kind of says
it's their shooting. It looks like
I think they're just underachieving this year. It's just my opinion. But in the playoff series, in the playoff series, don't get me wrong, they do have a good coach, and that makes a difference sometimes. So, you don't want to see them.
If there's turmoil, we know how that is, man. You get in there and
like a guy like Jimmy Butler, man. I mean, I feel like he puts so much pressure on his teammates, that they don't come through. You know what I mean? Like he's so hard on his teammates that they tense up when he around him
Yeah.
on the court. Like I just feel like he makes guys uncomfortable.
Gotta relax. Just
Yeah, they're
Yeah, but
not
at the
like
same time, I'm not disagreeing with it, but it wasn't like that in the bubble. These guys performed in the bubble.
Yeah.
no, you're right. You're right. You're right. Yeah.
I mean, they traded
It's
for Oladipo. Oladipo was a weird fit for me because he's not that shooter. That they normally have on that perimeter. But he's been banged up, so he hasn't really been playing. I mean, Jimmy Butler. He had a great game against Minnesota when he was motivated, 30 and 10. That was what last time we played was the 16th.
I'm about to say, he hasn't played in a while.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So why are you barking if you haven't been playing?
Yeah. I mean, I can see if you're
Uh-huh.
out there like giving it your all and like busting your ass every night, but I mean, if you're missing time, I mean, you got no room to talk. I agree with Kev. I mean, I think he's just way over his head. He thinks he's like this high tier superstar, and he's really got to humble himself. I mean,
you built
it's
yourself
crazy.
being a grinder, going out there and shutting up and balling.
Yeah,
Get back to that and let them. Don't speak. Let your teammates follow your play, not what you're saying to them. Because obviously, what you're saying to them is not working. Like you're going a little bit too overboard. So go back to just grinding, being a dog, and let them follow you that way.
And you've seen the best version of Jimmy Butler, which is the Bulls version of Jimmy Butler, which he wasn't as weird. He was just a dog.
Quiet. He was quiet, went out and ball, gave everything he had every single play. That's Thibodeau. That's Tibbs. You notice?
Yep.
Now look at the Knicks. Julius Randle's the same way. You get around Tibbs. Tibbs doesn't get his credit for that. Tibbs should still be the Chicago Bulls coach, but that's a whole nother. We're not getting into all that crap.
Well, it's a culture with we'll get in it. It's a culture because Tibbs has the Knicks right now in a great position, and there were some questions about Tibbs being effective on a team in the NBA now with stars, and I think that he's found the right blend of players who want to buy into the system. Tibbs can't go out and coach the Clippers. He can't go out and coach the Lakers.
No.
He can't go out there. If he went across and did the Brooklyn Nets job, he can't coach there either. And Kyrie, it's not anything against him.
Kyrie
It's just
would never play. Kyrie wouldn't play. He'd be on a permanent shoulder tightness, whatever he did get.
Yeah, I mean, listen, let's not not for nothing. There's a reason why Steve Nash is the coach and not a guy like Thibodeau. It's because these guys are just running the asylum, and that's fine when you have three of the greatest basketball players in the NBA.
Yeah.
But Tibbs is going to be really ineffective. So can Tibbs play? Can Tibbs go down there and coach a team like Miami? I think so. He'd be effective with Miami because of the type of players they have. A guy like Duncan Robinson might not see the floor, and Tyler Hero might not see the floor. But
that might not be a bad thing.
Well, Adebayo and these guys would definitely step up a little bit. But it is very puzzling that the Heat have struggled a little bit, especially in those fire-ass uniforms. I mean, them uniforms.
They're dope.
Listen, they're pretty. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it is too pretty. Feeling themselves a little bit, but they definitely need to step up. And I put this as a little joke. Sixers versus Suns night. Winner gets Kendall Jenner. Well, I guess if Ben doesn't play and Devin Booker does, I guess Booker already wins, right?
Yep, win by default.
Yeah.
You ain't balling, you can't win. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, let's do a little look in that game. I mean, the Suns are up 3. I mean, you got to be let down. I mean, except Michael Bridges. Mikal Bridges is coming in. He's balling. I mean, he's still pissed off about what happened on draft day, and I think half of every Sixers fan out there is pissed off as well. So
Cam Johnson's balling too for Phoenix. I'm gonna give it a little Tar Heel shout out, but he's balling.
Well, that's the thing too. When there was a changeover, when Roy Williams, they were like, "Oh, well, what college players have Carolina put out in the NBA?" And we're like, anybody basketball. Cam Johnson's been playing good. Kobe White's been up and down, but he's a top level player. Cole Anthony's back and healthy now. So I mean, shout out to the North Carolina players still doing their thing. But Cam Johnson, today he's already hit a 3, 2 for 3, 8. Was that 5 points? So
but he needs a damn haircut, though. We gotta get these players fades. This is terrible.
Oh, this motherfucker! I'll tell you, Kev comes in with a fresh cut. The fresh cut. Now he's talking.
Listen,
he comes on last week.
Hold on, time out. My beard, I might have looked like Paul Bunyan, but the fade was always tight. Shout out Casey Grover. Don't play. Do not play.
Ain't no one saying nothing about the fade, but
See money's watching, dog. You know, see money's watching.
Shout out to Casey and your wife, Casey. She's a wonderful woman.
There you go. Good boy.
There you go.
Shout out to your other. No, I'm not gonna say nothing.
My other what?
Nothing. So moving on. So I mean, these games tonight, Ant. What kind of bets do you have going for us? What are you thinking?
All right. So right now I got a 3-man parlay going on points. So some of these players I'm taking, people may not know because I'm just following these teams. So I got tonight over 20 points, Darius Garland for Cleveland.
Oh, you're gonna kill that. It's
all right. So then my other team I've been watching is the OKC Thunder. Now my boy Lou Dort is not playing, but I've been riding Lou Dort.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Yes. So
we hit him the other day. Me and KG.
I'm going with his other boy Baisley tonight, plus 20. I think that's how you say his name, Baisley.
Darius Baisley.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And Darius Baisley, he's the kid who skipped college and skipped professional basketball to take the internship, right? With Adidas.
That's right.
Yeah.
Was that Puma? It was a Puma.
Adidas, I believe it was, or no, I'm sorry, it might have been New Balance actually.
Bingo, that's it.
And you have Darius Garland over how many? Darius Garland has 7 points right now, so I love that. But yeah,
and then I got one more guy, plus 162 over 15 points tonight. Sadiq Bey for the Detroit Pistons.
The Villanova boys, Sadiq Bey. Listen.
Yes. So that's my three guy parlay.
Yeah, listen, I love it. I've been riding Sadiq Bey. I've been riding Luka Dort, like you mentioned, and it's who's the third one? Oh, Darius Garland. I did hit Darius Garland when he's had some good games too. So yeah, and I'm a fantasy player right now. I'm in the playoffs. My team is the 2 seed. So if you're in the fantasy, I just had to pick up LaMelo Ball because he might be back in a week. So try to get me into that championship run. But if you're a fantasy player, guys like Luka Dort, Darius Baisley, some of these guys who've been getting minutes on these bad teams because they've been putting up numbers. You know who my man has been, right?
Who's that?
And he's a household name in NBA circles, but he's been absolutely just. I don't even know what to describe it, but Kelly Olynyk.
Okay.
Kelly Olynyk.
I'm gonna give you another guy. Bogdanovic for the Atlanta Hawks.
Yep.
Dropping dimes lately. Keep an eye on him. Tonight, to score over 20 points, he's plus 230. I think that's great value tonight.
What was he?
And they have the Knicks.
And they got the Knicks, but it's just been him and Trae Young. I mean, so absolutely. I like that.
And that's the thing too. People don't realize that, but in the beginning of years, Bogdanovic was hurt. Dario Gallinari was hurt. These guys were all out before, and it's like then all of a sudden the Hawks went on this run when these guys came back because they could score. And they're playing Kevin Huerta for scoring in 3 points.
Yes. And Capella's been putting up numbers too. The Hawks got a job.
Hey, guys, I gotta go. I got a family emergency. I gotta go.
All right, KG. Hope everything's good, and I'll talk to you a little bit, bud. So, I don't know about you. Why don't we just wrap it up early then, since KG's left? I'm gonna put us out on a little bit of outro real quick. This is what we had a little bit planned. We had a big night tonight. Always fun to see everybody here. My man J Rock came in the scene, and J Rock, I'm gonna play this for you because listen, nobody does it better than than DJ J Rock. I mean, he comes in you with the Feet Free Fridays, the Throwback Thursdays. I mean, he's always bringing it to you. Last night was a special night for a lot of us, So I'm gonna just blast a little of this as we go out.
Yes.
Shout out to Black Robs. See, this is the intro and the music and stuff like that. So that's gonna be the outro for us tonight. We always appreciate it. My man Red and Meth killed it on Versus. Who got the W last night, Ant?
Last night was a concert. They put in a concert last night. It was awesome.
I know. I got it on.
I mean, you got to check it out. Phenomenal. They both are just incredible MCs. You know, it's just good shit. 90s hip hop.
Absolutely. It's a good night tonight. Good night last night. Hopefully we'll have a good weekend. So I'm gonna put this out here, and we're gonna do our little outro and all that fun stuff. So, gentlemen, have a good night, and try to recover from that 420.
It's 420 every day, Tom.
All right, brother.
It's the
Be good.
Dr. Spot Spoken Buddha on the train.
Thank you for watching this episode of Baseline Jumper on the Sports Box. Please remember to follow us on all of our social media outlets. On Facebook at Sportsbox Show, Twitter at Sportsbox Show, Instagram at The Sportsbox Show. Find us on YouTube and join Outside the Box, our Facebook sports discussion group. The Sports Box is brought to you by our sponsor, Showcase Sports in Hammonton. Showcase Sports for the elite athlete. And also our friends over at CrowdPlay. Download the free CrowdPlay app today and use promo code THEBOX at sign up for 10 free points. Thank you for joining us.